Hello folks, it's Sunday, May 13th, Mother's Day in Milwaukee. Welcome to the tour of Sherrena's houses. As discussed in Matthew Desmond's book, Evicted. This is where Matthew lived, the rooming house on the north side on First Street. It's been city owned since February, and can't tell if anybody's living upstairs, but downstairs is obviously boarded up. So don't know what the city's plans are for this property. Hopefully eventually it will be reclaimed in some fashion. This is a view of the back of the house. I guess pretty clear there is no one living in it because both back doors are boarded up. So that wouldn't be the case if somebody was living in there. So, abandoned property number one. So this next house, this is on the neighborhood of 10th and Center. This was, I think it was owned by Sherrena's husband, Mr. Tarver. And this was featured on NPR when I gave Pat Fessler, the NPR reporter, a tour of some of the inner city. Well, we got some nice flower forsythia here. So this was also taken back by the city, I think, for non-payment of taxes. And then, according to the neighbors, was burned in November 2017. So it's going to get torn down pretty soon, I'm sure. But just another example that it is not that easy to be there anymore. Here's a little comment about this sign on this burned out house. Call the city with concerns. So either nobody's calling or the city is ignoring the calls. I don't think the city is ignoring them, because overall Department of Neighborhood Services and Public Works, I found them to be quite responsible basically in how they handle most city properties. This might be an exception. Sad to say, I think the neighbors just haven't called, and if 3 or 4 of them would, I talked to the one across the street some months ago, and if they would call, something would get done about this, but they're homeowners next door to the left and right behind me. So that's the story on that. Some more perspective here. This is the property just to the north of the burned out house. City owned. It's for sale for I think around $3,000 with scope of work it's a duplex somewhere around $50,000 I think. You know, hopefully somebody will take the city up on that. The neighborhood has got a number of vacant lots, but there's 2 pretty nice looking houses next door to it. And looking down the street, in fact, you see there's a nice brick. Is it a church? I think there's a church down there. So the neighborhood is not all bad here. Now this particular house is not a former Sherrena property. I was featured on National Public Radio back in when was it, January broadcast with Pat Fessler and myself. I don't think I said my name before. I'm Easy, Milwaukee attorney. And so she had this featured on her radio report. She had some photos of it, including that house that's across the street, which is for sale. Empty. Doesn't look too bad though. Unlike this property, which is also city owned. The windows are busted out. It is rather shabby. You look behind it and you've got a whole row of very nice habitat houses. You see all the little one-car garages, and I just don't understand why these neighbors, who I'm sure, rather probably all homeowners, why are they not getting on the city to tear this place down? You can bet if this was in the suburbs somewhere, it'd be a huge out. Now we're on Center Street at what was Sherrena's former office. The property was taken back by the city in February of 2018. The meter has been gone since, well, whenever I last visited the place probably back last fall. And hard to tell if anybody's been here. Strangely, Sherrena still uses this address as her business address. Although the property is, according to city records, the property is not. Friendly houses, because Milwaukee does have a lot of reconstruction and positive things happening, both the profit and non-profit sector. But right here, maybe it's Sherrena's. All right, finally, a success story. Take a look here. This is on 35th Street. This place was empty and abandoned when I took a picture 2 years ago after I went around looking at all the Sherrena properties. And somebody has obviously spent some good money on fixing up the porches, woodwork. There's a little paint upstairs. Also, what they did was put a whole new service walk in here. It wasn't cheap. Like this nice railing here. I think I will talk to the tenants once and see what the story is. Who owns this place? Okay, here we got a success story on 36th Street. This place was already rehabbed back in April of 2016 when I went around taking pictures of Sherrena's properties. They did a nice job, nice porch, new siding, new roof. I was just talking to the neighbor sitting over there on his steps. He says the neighborhood is not too bad. Seems like some of the troublemakers have moved out. And of course, you've got a nice place next door. And then down the street, you will see 1, 2, 3 habitat houses. Across the street, there's houses aren't bad. There's one that's being rehabbed. And then we got 2 habitat houses right below. Okay, another success story, Cherry Street. In the book there's Desmond's got Sherrena making a nighttime evening visit to the tenant here to collect some rent. Can't remember the details of that. Again, I've got a photo of this place looking really bad when the city owned it. They took it back for taxes. But, so some guy's rehabbing this, and I forget his name, he lives somewhere else. He's not making that much, well, he's making progress. It looks good on the outside, but he's got a lot of work. You can see that roof back there. That's the soffit's missing back there. What he's got to say about his progress here. It's not, he doesn't live here, obviously. Let's go around to the back. Well, there's obviously some work to be done here. You can tell the paint buckets and trash bags have been working along. The power's been restored, but it's been some months since the rehab started. I don't know why it hasn't been finished. All right, last stop here. This particular vacant lot is one of Sherrena's former properties. It's on 38th and Galena. And I just spent some time talking to the owner of the house next door, a former Baltimore Oriole baseball star named Mike Ithier, I-T-H-I-E-R. He's been here 57 some years. So reason this lot in particular hits home is because, walk down the street here, it is across the street from my boyhood home, which is the place right there. See cedar trees in the front, the yellow house, and moved there in 1957. She's 95 years old, God bless her. The garage back there was built in 1957 by my dad and me. So when I read Evicted and then followed up with Sherrena's houses,